I begin this video with a cleansing breath. A cleansing breath to calm me down. Because I'm going to tell you, man, the last couple of days have stressed me out, and the weird and wacky world of Watchtower has once again spilled over into my personal life, despite me not, looking for it, despite me minding my own beeswax. Now, let me explain to you something. If you've been watching my videos for the last, 4 or 5 years, you'll recall how when I first was liberated from the twoof and got out in September of 2012. Oh, and by the way, my 4-year anniversary, the 4-year anniversary of my liberation and my freedom is coming up in just a couple of weeks. I would love to party with you. Maybe that's another video. So those of you that have been watching my videos for the last few years, look, you know that I was constantly shunned. And I don't, there's some things that we all exaggerate on, telling a funny story or something. I'm not exaggerating. I was shunned at the grocery store, shunned at the restaurant, shunned at the movie theater, shunned at the gym often, shunned at a street light in traffic. I was shunned easily 3 to 5 times a week, regularly, all the time. Every week. There wasn't one week that went by. It was usually almost every day there for a while, midweek. So, that's tapered off a lot. And also, it hasn't bugged me as much. At first, it would get me very angry. It would get me riled up. I would be breathing hard. I would just be like, And now, occasionally I see a dub. I was in the grocery store last week, saw a dub as she was getting a free morsel of food, a free sample. Well, I had just gotten my morsel. I turned, there she was, dub from my old haul. And I said, "Hello there, Bonnie," not her real name. "Hello there, Bonnie. How are you? Isn't this food good?" And the handout guy, the sample guy, was right there, and she smiled and said, "Hello. Yes, it sure is." See, that's what usually the dubs do when they're in front of regular people, you see, because they can't give a bad witness to the twoof, so they have to pretend that they don't treat you as a subhuman. So, look, and I wasn't nervous in the least. In fact, I walked away tickled that she had said hello to me and had treated me as a fellow human being. So that was not the case recently. I went into a store yesterday evening, and lo and behold, guess who the F was in this store with his entourage? A JW elder by the name of Dan. I'm not going to say his last name, but if you've watched some of my elder videos and one other video, a phone call from a loving elder, then you'll know who this character is. My first instinct, I couldn't believe it, because he lives like 2.5 hours away from where I now live and where this store is located, right? So I saw him in this store, just complete fluke. Now, if you've ever seen the great Tarantino film Kill Bill, if you have seen Kill Bill, you know how the main character, it's a revenge movie, right? When she walks in, the beautiful and talented Uma Thurman walks in and sees one of her enemies, one of the ones that wronged her, that shot her in the head and left her for dead when she was on her wedding nuptials, when she was about to get married, she was ganked by these people, and the film is about her getting revenge. So when she sees one of them, all of a sudden everything turns red, the camera starts zooming in, zooming out, an alarm starts sounding, but of course it's in her mind. That's how she sees red, and that's how the filmmaker depicts it. I gotta tell you, when I saw Elder Dan, I saw red. I almost walked straight over and shoved him right into a rack of clothes and called him a cocksucker. Sorry, I used a bad word, but it just, because that's what he is. He's a sick creep. And I do not use that in a literal way, of course, but he is a bad man. And you know what? I see, this is what it's doing to me, because I don't want to judge anybody anymore. But this guy slandered me, gossiped about me, cast aspersions on me before I even left the org, while I was still brain dead and still a loyal little soldier. And then, I mean, it just got worse. We almost had to delete the guy twice. He upset and annoyed and stumbled so many of the friends, on and on and on and on, da 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 da, Yankee Doodle Dandy. So I was so furious, and I'm sorry I used a cuss word, but I was so furious at this guy. I froze for a moment, and then I just turned around and was forced to leave the establishment because I didn't want to get arrested. For about 10 seconds, I sat in my car thinking, fantasizing about him coming out and me confronting him. And then after 10 seconds, I got it out of my system, and I left. I drove away. So, so that happens, and I thought I was doing a lot better, with getting shunned, and I'm a pro, man. I'm the best at it. I've probably racked up as many times shunned as many judicial committees meetings that I sat on, which was around 200. So anywho, I got that in my head today, and I'm getting over it. I'm at work, and then lo and behold, I walk right past at work someone, a JW that I used to be their elder, and I've known this individual for over 20 years. I mentored this person. I helped them through some very hard times. I care deeply for them and for their children. And they only recently started working where I work, hooray. And they walked right past me and shunned me. And I'm like, what the fuck? It's like, that made me feel about 6 inches tall. It just, it is uh, a human rights violation when you understand what it is. When you understand how cruel it is, and when you experience it, you understand. Or when you see it done to someone else, you understand. I know you, dear listeners, for the most part, truly do sympathize and understand. Thank you for that. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your incredible kindness in your comments, in your shout outs, in your commendations. And it just it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. And I mean that for real. It really does. So I just felt like blowing off some steam. You know what? I'm done. The next time I'm shunned, which could be today or tomorrow, I'm on my way home. You never know. I'm going to be a little calmer, because I don't have to hate. I don't have to judge people anymore. And I guess I have to remind myself of that sometimes. I feel like I've been doing better. I recently met a gentleman here in my area that has been out for 26 or 27 years. He left when he got out of high school. He confronted his father, who was an elder at the time, and told him, look, you promised me that I'd never even get out of school before Armageddon came, and I'm done with school, and I'm also done with your bullshit religion. And he left, and yet I met him just recently, and yet he said that he's still struggling to get that thinking out of his mind. Now, granted, he, didn't go research things, and then only until recently had he ever even watched a YouTube video about, about this evil corporation that controls a global religion called Jehovah's Witnesses. So, it takes effort and it takes time to clean this stuff out of your mind, and I have more work to do. We all have our path, our arc, and we all have our work cut out for us. But I wouldn't trade my situation for anything. I would never take the blue pill and go back. I would never want to do anything differently since I was liberated September 22nd, 2012. And here it is, the first week of September, and I'm coming up on my 4-year anniversary. So give me some suggestions on how we can party, and we will do that. Take care.
The order is rapidly fading, for the times they are a-changing.